83 miles northwest of Las Vegas is a military airbase that has left the entire world questioning its purpose, and for years the government denied it even existed. It has now been confirmed that it is simply a military airbase for housing aircraft, but the insane security and strange vibes surrounding it have led millions of people questioning whether or not it is simply just a military base or something much darker that houses things we can't even begin to imagine. Here are 5 interesting things about this supposedly military airbase. Let's first start with its extreme security. To say access to the base is limited is an understatement. The procedures taking place to keep people away are very strict. The area is surrounded by a 25-mile border which is patrolled 24 hours a day. Signposts read that people who insist on trespassing can be dealt with by deadly force. For many years, map makers wouldn't include the area or any roads leading to it on maps. Any satellite imagery of the area was routinely deleted by the government, and it's said that in 1973 Skylab astronauts inadvertently photographed the airfield. However, according to declassified documents, the CIA managed to censor the pictures and keep it from being seen by the public. Thanks to Google Earth and such, the area can now be seen publicly from an aerial view, although what you can see on the surface might only be a tiny part of the actual facility. It is believed that the surface building rests on top of an enormous underground base. Despite the 25-mile no-go zone, for many years observers could hike to elevated vantage points like Whiteside's Peak or Freedom Ridge in order to get a glimpse of the base, but unfortunately those areas have since been closed off to the public. People wishing to see anything now have to hike up Tickaboo, a 26-mile peak where during the night you may get a brief glimpse of runway lights flashing on and an experimental aircraft taking off, before the lights go out again and conceal Area 51 into darkness. The workers. Not a whole lot is known about the workers, and since no one knows exactly what goes on in Area 51, who knows who could be working there. What is known though is that everyone who works at Area 51, whether military or civilian, must sign an oath agreeing to keep everything a secret. All buildings at the site lack windows, preventing people from seeing anything not related to their own duties at the base. By some reports, different teams would work on similar projects at the same time, but their supervisors would keep each team ignorant of the other team's project. When testing a secret aircraft, officials ordered all uninvolved employees to stay inside until the test flight was over and the aircraft returned to its hangar. Many workers may live in the base, but those that do commute simply cannot drive through the gates. They have to be brought in on special planes. These planes are known on the aviation frequencies by the name Janet. Each jet is a Boeing 737 or similar, with a single red stripe along the side and no company name or insignia. The London Fog Event. In 1989, Robert Frost was a worker at Area 51. He was just one of the hundreds of nameless workers who commuted to Area 51 via the Janet Airlines. In using chemicals extensively in the supposedly manufacture of aircraft, they had the problem of disposal. Because of the base being secluded and top secret, the only way for waste material to be moved was by aircraft, which wasn't an alternative. So they dug huge football-sized trenches near the base and filled them with 55-gallon drums full of hazardous waste. They then doused them with jet fuel and lit them on fire. The trenches were dug on the windward side of the base, so when the fires were burning, the base got hit hard with the smoke. The smoke was so thick, the base workers nicknamed it the London Fog. Hazardous waste is most dangerous when it is burnt because it makes it easier to enter the body. Workers at the base were coming down with classic symptoms of exposure to hazardous waste. Robert's wife said his skin was starting to peel off his entire face. He developed blisters and sores all over his body. His skin kept peeling off to a point where it was every day. He said his face was on fire and his eyes were burning. He used to run to the bathroom pouring water all over his head. He said he couldn't stand the pain. The reason Robert's case sticks out most is that he sadly ended up committing suicide, and worse yet, when the other workers went to the doctors, they were told they have a form of toxic poisoning that can only be treated if the specific poisons were known. Supervisors at Area 51 refused to disclose what poisons they were, or to release information from Robert Frost's autopsy report. Alien autopsies and other spacecraft ongoings at Area 51. Aliens are the most talked about subject when mentioning Area 51. Many former workers at the base have publicly told that there is extraterrestrial activities taking place. Bob Lazar, an alleged former worker at the base, told a Las Vegas TV station that while working at Area 51 he'd come across flying saucers in hangars and an element so heavy it simply could not be synthesized on Earth. He also said the storage, examination and reverse engineering of crashed alien spacecraft supposedly recovered from downed UFOs takes place in Area 51. There are also stories of autopsies performed by government officials on dead aliens. Some people claim that anyone trying to uncover the government's secret about aliens would receive a visit from a group of intimidating officials in dark suits, the so-called Men in Black. The US government repeatedly denied having any information about autopsies or any connection to such extraterrestrial events, but many theorists dismissed the government's responses. Probably the most compelling evidence of UFO links to Area 51 is that of Gary McKinnon, the hacker at the centre of an extradition dispute between the UK and the US, claims that once he broke through the security on Area 51 computers, he found the Disclosure Project, which collected testimony from air traffic controllers, nuclear missile technicians and others confirming the existence of extraterrestrials. Its possible link with Roswell. Although I just covered the conspiracies of aliens and alien craft, no Area 51 video would be complete without mentioning the famous Roswell incident. On a warm July night in 1947, an unidentified flying object crashed into the ground in Roswell, New Mexico. The general public have no clue what crashed that night, and whatever it was left a trail of debris reaching almost a mile long and several hundred feet in width. It was first discovered by a local ranch manager. The debris was recovered by the 509th Bomb Group Intelligence Office and promptly delivered to Area 51. Immediately upon its delivery, there was an official press release stating that debris from some kind of flying disc had been recovered. It had been written by Lieutenant Walter Haut, who was the Public Information Officer for the bomb group responsible for the collection of the UFO. The newspaper story followed on July the 8th with the headline, "RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region." However, that press release was almost immediately pulled and replaced by another stating that the crash was only that of a weather balloon and had nothing to do with aliens or UFOs. But what do you think? So that's 5 interesting things to know about Area 51. Personally, I don't think the real truth will ever be uncovered. Whether it's a housing for UFO information or not is hugely argued, but to say that in today's world the government wouldn't be interested in projects to find out if there are any other life forms out there seems very unlikely. Thanks for watching, and check out the description where I add links relating to the video for you to further your knowledge and interest on the subject. Bye bye for now, and see you in the next video.